how's it going? Welcome back to another special video today with your host, The Savior. Today, we are finally taking a look at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I'm going to be giving you my Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 review, an early review. So basically, we're going to look at the positives and the negatives of this game to find out if Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is worth it, if it's worth your time, if you should actually pick this up and play it, or if you're not the type of gamer to truly, get the most out of this experience. And, I do think there are going to be quite a lot of people like that, but honestly, this is probably one of the most realistic open world games I've seen in a very long time, to be honest.
Shut up and take my money!
Make sure you check out my other Kingdom Come Deliverance video because I go into detail in that one about the kind of discourse around the gaming industry and what this game represents for the gaming community. We want immersive experiences. We don't want hand-holding mechanics. We don't want, linear quest design. We don't want games telling us what to do 24/7, holding our hands and treating us like a dum-dum, having the characters constantly speaking at all times. I think there's a person over there. I think I should shoot it because I've been shot in the face with an arrow. Duh! That is modern day gaming, 100%. The most basic stuff gets pointed out to you. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the opposite of all of that modern day gaming design approach, which I think so many of us have come to hate over the years because it's just very restrictive when we have the technology now to have these super realistic worlds to, explore, but we can't actually do it properly because the game doesn't trust us to actually, have fun and figure stuff out ourselves. That's where gaming can be a lot of fun for a lot of people. And I personally do have that bias. So in my reviews, I'm going to always tell you if I have a bias. I do have a bias for this type of game. I love games like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Dragon's Dogma 2, games that allow you to figure out the mechanics yourself, and they have friction, something to overcome, because that's what makes it rewarding to play. I don't want to just play something mindless. I'm never really in that mood because it's just not a fun experience to me. I might as well just watch a movie at that point. Shh, let the peasant culling commence, because I am a merciful lord. Now, I did mention this in my previous video, but I just think it's worth drawing attention to. This game is very deep in the RP sense, okay? But the only problem with that, because trust me, that's a massive, massive big bonus because this game has so much more going on compared to the first one, and I'm gonna get into all of that. But the only problem is the slight disconnect with your Henry and the cutscene Henry, okay? Because you can be a complete sadistic psychopath. Not that I would know anything about that because I'm a perfectly sane person. But the only problem with the deep RP mechanics now, with so many skill checks and the way you want to play, you can literally be, like I said, a complete evil bastard, or you could be a noble knight, you could be a drunken dum-dum, or you could just be like a complete pervert, or just like a troublemaker chucking rocks at the villagers because you've got nothing better to do with your time, I guess. All of this stuff. And the world in the open world section will reflect that, but then just like in Red Dead Redemption and stuff like that, the cutscenes might not reflect it, so there's a little bit of a disconnect. So just, let that be known. If that really bothers you, then, this might bother you, but honestly, it's not a huge thing.
Shut up and take my money!
So I do hope you enjoy this Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 game review, this KCD2 review, and bear in mind this is from the early access stuff that I've managed to play myself, but I can't go over certain details due to the embargo, so I'm only talking, as like an early review, the positives and negatives, and then you can decide if it's worth your time or not. I don't give you a score because I think that's BS. And the game journalists, if you want my opinion about them and this game, check my last video because I go into detail. So let's just get straight into the positives and negatives. And if you do enjoy this, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Go down below right now and subscribe. Now, become a wise one today. Don't be one of those low IQ peasants. Look at these peasants, okay? Do you want to be like them? No, subscribe to the community right now. I'm passionate about OG YouTube, building up a proper community here. I'm also going to be doing some game giveaways, maybe even Kingdom Come, I'm not sure. this coming month in February, so subscribe to be a part of that. I'm very passionate about this community, and it's no fun without you guys, so please sound off in the comments, give the video a like, because I am really trying to do this full time. So supporting a smaller channel would really mean a lot if you drop a donation, or just by boosting this video by liking. That really does mean a lot. But thank you so much, my wise ones, for returning, and any new ones, you're welcome here. Now, the first positive that you need to know about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I'm not going to go into massive detail like, is this game for you and is this game not for you? I'm assuming this game is for you as you clicked on this video. Check out my other video if you're not sure about it, and you're not sure if this type of experience is for you, because it is a very immersive experience. It is only for patient gamers. And for people who want to get truly immersed in a game. It does have a lot of friction, like I said, so this is not going to be for someone who, say, enjoys only like Marvel Spider-Man games or something like that, okay? This takes a lot of time to get into, but it's super fulfilling when you do, even though at times it can be annoying. But check my other video if you want to know more about that. But assuming you do already love Kingdom Come Deliverance and you played the first one, this basically builds upon everything that first game did, but makes it even more detailed and even more fulfilling with its game systems. I'll just give you a quick example, okay? The crime punishment system has been completely overhauled in this game, and it's so much more in-depth now, and it just feels so goddamn immersive. I love it so much. So, if you steal something from a dumb peasant's little peasant filth. Excuse me. If you steal something from the peasants, okay, they are suddenly a little bit more intelligent than they used to be, which is a surprise. I do love a peasant that fights back. I love a little bit of wriggle with those peasants. And basically, if you steal something from their chest, they might have to, they might have the wisdom to go and check their chest and, oh, what's this strange man doing in my house? Perhaps he's stolen from me. And if they find the thing is missing from their chest, well, they're gonna put two and two together. If you literally flaunt their stolen goods, say, for example, I stole this Roman necklace from one of those peasants, and I just, wore it right in front of them, they would come after me. They would alert the guards. They're not so stupid that they don't realize that you're literally wearing what you stole from them, which is quite funny. And the same thing with the actual punishment system, okay? So there is, a long period of time where they remember this. After a while, it will reset, obviously, but it's just so cool and so much more immersive, where the AI is a little bit more alert. But then on top of that, the guard system is so much better. I mean, there's so much stuff to go over. Okay, so basically, the guards now won't just, catch you and throw you in jail or try and kill you. There's like a crime system, okay? So first things first is you will get put in the pillory, okay? Which is basically a medieval torture device in which you would just stand in the center of town with your neck bent over and your arms through these little wooden holes, okay? In the Middle Ages, there were so many unique, wonderful, torturous devices to shame the people, which I find quite hilarious. They would literally put bells on people's heads and then parade them around town so that, the metal would just keep hitting their heads. All kinds of sick shit I've seen in, like, a museum somewhere. But anyway, that besides the point. It's going for that realism. So you will actually be put, on parade in the middle of town, which is hilarious. And then if you continue to, do bad stuff, you will get whipped. There are cutscenes for this. There are, repercussions as well to your health and stuff like that. And then if you are just a crazy bastard, not that I know any of this, but if you are just a crazy bastard and you do all kinds of bad stuff, then basically at one point you will be branded as an outlaw, as a goddamn pirate. Yes, you're a pirate.
You're nothing but murdering pirates.
Pirates!
And basically you will be outcasted from most of the major cities and settlements and stuff like that. And then of course there is an execution option. Stuff like that just makes it so much more detailed compared to the first game and so much more realistic. Like I said, this is truly one of those game worlds like Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm going to keep referencing that game because I love it. The world is moving without your actions. Things are happening. These NPCs have day and night cycles that actually are realistic, and all of these mechanics are going on. Quests will happen even if you aren't there to actually trigger them sometimes, which is super cool. And it's just so immersive. And just For production quality, like I said in my last video, it's so much more better now. Graphically, this game is absolutely beautiful. Reflections in the water, so much more like just detail in all of the textures, and the forests and the woodlands just feel so alive, and you know, the animals just act much more realistically. All of this stuff that is just quality of life improvements. Then you even have more interaction just with the NPCs in general. I'm not talking about skill checks, which there's way more of this time around with the actual, you know, dialogue mechanic, but just interacting. If someone's just saying something to you as you pass by, it's basically got that Red Dead Redemption 2 greet or intimidate option. Okay, so you can basically be a jerk or be nice, and then this will trigger you know, something to happen. You know, a guard, you can basically piss them off, and then you might get in trouble, or you might scare away some people, and you know, if you piss them off too much, then they will get angry with you. Or if you're super nice, then you'll get a nice comment back. The next positive, and let's be honest, most of these are positives. I don't think there's that many negatives. There's only a few, I would say. But the next positive is basically just the game world, okay? It's so much more lived in compared to the first game. There's so much more environmental storytelling similar to those Bethesda-style games, which I really love. I just really like that attention to detail. You know, you can come across these weird things just happening in the world, these weird locations. You can see where a cart has been, you know, kind of struck down in the middle of the road, and kind of piece together what's happened there. You can find these weird statues. You can find almost supernatural stuff in the game, which I won't spoil, which obviously turns out not to be exactly supernatural, as this is a realistic setting, but still you get my point. There's lots of mysteries to uncover, and the world just has much more of that exploration feel, where you can just randomly discover like a cool piece of weaponry, or you know, dig up something and discover a cool piece of armor. Stuff like that is just super cool, and it just feels like there's a lot more of it this time around. Cuttenberg is the major city, and holy goddamn, okay, I've never seen a medieval city simulated in this much detail. I mean, these people literally worked with historians, with universities to get actual historic detail. And if you're a person like me who's not just a mindless gamer, but actually appreciates, you know, philosophy and history, there's a huge codex explaining all of the little things around this time period and going into great detail. I just love that attention to detail. You can tell that these developers truly care about this time period, and it just shows in all of the UI elements and the world building that feels truly authentic, which I really love. And like I said, Cuttenberg is just such a beautiful city. It's so massive. There's so many things to discover there, so many side quests that you can take and all this kind of stuff. That's where you're going to pick up a lot of this stuff. So many random encounters that you can come across. And remember that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is basically 2 times the size of the first game, and it will probably take you around 100 hours, honestly, if you take your time with it, maybe even more. So there is a big game here. I do hope you are enjoying this Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 review, and bear in mind this is all based on the early access stuff and the stuff that I can talk about, okay? So just bear that in mind, that's why this is an early review, but I do my game reviews early because we can't really trust the industry. We can't trust shills now, you know, being paid off to give, you know, their opinions. The gaming journalist scene is completely broken with IGN and stuff like that, and just now gaming is mostly marketing, okay? So it's important to analyze these games beforehand to make sure it's actually worth it, because so many games get broken on release and they just hide the fact. So I do hope you do enjoy this Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 review. And yeah, let's get into some more positives and negatives. So the next thing I want to talk about is weaponry, okay? There's so much more variation this time around, okay? Basically, you don't just have a sword, an axe, and stuff like that. Now you have access to crossbows, okay? And they are slow but very powerful, and they're so fun to use, and it just has a nice funky weight to it, okay? And they're a little bit more easier to aim than a bow and arrow, because, you know, you can actually see where you're pointing. You can actually aim down the sights, unlike, you know, with a bow and arrow. You also have access to very primitive forms of guns and firearms, you know, basically just these big wooden, basically just these giant gun sticks that will just explode, like a very, very basic flintlock kind of style of gun, but it's still super cool to use, and it does change up the combat a lot, and you will basically be known as someone very fearsome if you use this, because people are obviously not new to this technology, people are not used to this technology and they will get scared if you do use this type of weapon. All of the stuff that you know and love is in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but it's just built upon. You know, you can still poison your foes. The day and night cycle truly does matter. Nighttime truly feels like nighttime as well. You have to play tactically to actually think about the situation. You have to accumulate your skills. You can't just go in there expecting to, you know, kill everyone. You really have to master the actual weaponry and how to actually fight with that particular weapon and get better at it over time. Invest your time. And it's got that OG, you know, RPG mechanic where the more you do something, the better you get at it, which I really love. So, you know, you can be carrying heavy stuff with you constantly, and basically this will make you a stronger person. Simple things like that. If you are spending a lot of time hunting, you will get better and more accurate with your bow and arrow. You know, your stamina will regenerate and all that kind of stuff much quicker. So it really is one of those RPGs where whatever, you know, niche you want to focus in, it will basically just get better and better as you play that certain trade. You know, the same thing with the blacksmithing. That's even more complicated now. There's still some funny stuff in this game. You know, it knows its memes now. Henry is a hungry boy, and you can feed him up nice and plump. And, you know, it is still got that kind of jank, which I find kind of funny. Like when you bash a chicken over the head with a... if you do that, then they literally just puff, and they turn into skinless, ready to eat, yummy KFC. Which I think is hilarious. So they've kept some of the humor, and the writing is just even more sharper. It's like it really knows what it's trying to be now. It's very, you know, historically accurate. It's not a fantasy game in any sense of the word. It is trying to be as accurate as possible, but it knows now how to have fun with itself. You know, there is a little bit more banter within the actual writing itself, but a lot of the characters that you meet, even side characters, are so much more fleshed out, and the questing is just so much bigger now. Even side missions, they can go down a whole massive tangent and then different branching paths going off on different side missions, which I really, really love. You know, it's not obvious in the old school, you know, sense of RPGs, like, okay, there's a choice here, I must make a choice. Do I side with the villagers or do I side with the, you know, the bandits or whatever? It's not really like that. It's much more nuanced. You know, you will make decisions without even realizing you're kind of making decisions, but then the quest will play out differently depending on your skill checks, depending on what you're even wearing, depending on your reputation. The whole reputation system has been fleshed out, and what you stat into truly does make it a proper RPG. So you can be a silver tongue, you know, kind of charismatic noble knight, or you can be a horrible brute, or, you know, some kind of sadistic asshole. You know, all of this is open to you. This is a proper RPG, and this is what we need more of. You know, this is what I've been wanting for a very long time. This is what has been missing in the industry. So many games now just do RPG-light mechanics and call themselves RPGs. This is not an action RPG. This is a proper RPG, and this is what we need more of, because you can still have fun action on the side. But I hate that so many games now are calling themselves RPGs when they're nothing like an RPG, but this really is one. Also, just quality of life stuff now. You know, before it was so annoying, like how you'd have to layer your armor. You know, it's very cool that you can do that, but then if you want to change something, it takes a long time. But now you actually have quick slots, so if you want, you know, to save your outfit, to save a piece of armor for, you know, the daytime and then switch over to something more light in the evening, you can do that. The same thing with your weapons. So it's just a lot more ease of use. You know, it's still not hand-holding in any way, but it's still just a little bit more, you know, refined with its UI, with the map and everything like that. The menus aren't so confusing as they were before, but it is still very much a game that you have to truly take time to learn and get into a rhythm, because it truly isn't something that you can just pick up and play for like a few hours and then, you know, that's it. You kind of got the main loop. It's something that you really have to take a lot of time and appreciation to really soak in this world. But the world itself is just so immersive. Like I said, way more variation with the environmental storytelling, weather effects, The NPC routines seem to be even more dynamic now. They've got proper day and night cycles, side missions that feel way more fleshed out, and just interaction with the dumb peasants that aren't proper characters even has more weight to them now because of this, new interaction system. So it's just so much more fleshed out. And then when you are in the main story, the cutscenes are so better. It's just like a proper, like animated movie at this point. The production quality is just so much better, and it just looks beautiful to explore. You truly feel immersed, like you are in this time period, and not many games really pull that sense of immersion off. So Kingdom Come Deliverance is a game all about how you want to act, okay? People will react to you differently, like I said, depending on what you're wearing, depending on your attitude and your status with the greater community in general, like your crime, reputation, and all that kind of stuff. So this is a game that will truly immerse you. So like I said, it's only really for players who are willing to take the deep dive plunge into something like this. There is a lot of friction, just as much as the first game. They haven't, made it more easy for new players or anything like that. I think some of the survival mechanics, still, I would put that on the negative. That is the only negative I really have with this. Everything else I've listed are positives, but I really don't like some of the survival mechanics that it doesn't even feel realistic. It's just like cumbersome. If you eat too much, you can be, lethargic, and you will be slower, which doesn't really make much sense. If I stuff myself, but there's something going on, I can still run, unless if Henry's suddenly overweight, which I don't think he is. It just doesn't work like that. I just sometimes feel that the survival mechanics of constantly eating and sleeping, and the save system especially, just takes you out of the experience a little bit for me. There should be that in the game, but I don't think it should be 100% necessary. I think there should be an option to turn the survival mechanics off if you want to just enjoy it as an immersive experience. You don't need to actually do this stuff. You could just see Henry doing it as a cutscene. That would be pretty cool, but I understand everyone's different with that regard. But the save system is a little bit stupid because the only way you can save is the same way in the first game, by, collecting the schnapps, okay? Schnappers, whatever the hell they're called. But the problem is you can also just exit save, which kind of defeats the point. I understand they want to stop save scumming. If they wanted to go that approach, I think DD2 would be a good way to do it, because basically that had, a one save system and it was always auto-saving. So they could have just done it that way if they wanted it to be more immersive. So is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 worth buying? Should you play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? Yes, 100% if you want a deep RPG, if you want a historically accurate video game, and there's not many of them, let's be honest. A lot of it is fantasy, and I understand why it's a lot more exciting to a degree, but it is so cool now that we can simulate historic times. If you think of Red Dead Redemption 2, it's such an immersive experience, even though it takes massive liberty with that time period. This is much more authentic, and if you're the type of gamer who likes slow, a slower paced game that takes a lot of time to learn, but in the end is super fulfilling to actually, learn all the systems and become the person you want to be in this game. It does take a long time to learn, especially with the combat. I wish they overhauled the combat a little bit more. It is still exactly the same system where you lock on and it's directional attacks, but there are more combos to pull off, and it does feel more fluid, much more finishing animations, stealth kills, all of this kind of stuff, but still the way, and it's much better to exit out of combat, because that was really annoying in the first game, but still the way that sometimes, they group up on you, or sometimes they literally just wait for the other person to finish with you so then they can get in. It's like they know that having everyone attack you at the same time doesn't work now, but instead of changing how the combat works, they literally just kind of paced out the enemies and made it a little bit more fluid, but it is fundamentally the same combat system. Also, you even have a little pooch, which is way more, interactive now. The AI and just everything is just ramped up. There's so many systems now in this game. Even simple things like alchemy is way more layered now. If you pick something at a perfect time, then it's going to give you a better yield, for example. Everything just has more realistic depth to them, all the systems like blacksmithing, like alchemy, and this just makes the game feel so much more fleshed out. The same thing with, bribery, there's penalties to it. The whole, stealing mechanics is completely redefined, how the AI reacts. It's just 10 times more immersive. I don't know what else to say. It's such a good game, but it's very particular for the type of gamer that's going to enjoy this type of game. But I think you have to really analyze what type of gamer you are. If you're the patient and more immersed type of gamer who really likes to get into something single player and kind of has to use their brain and is interested in history and stuff like that, then you will enjoy this game. But if you like something that is just quick, dumb action like Call of Duty, I would not recommend this. That's the best way I could sum it up. So I do hope you enjoyed this Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 review, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe, like I said, and consider dropping a small donation or checking out my music on Spotify, as I am a independent creator and I'm trying to do this full time, so any support means a hell of a lot to me. So thank you so much for watching, my wise ones, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.